What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about my final week at college before I graduated. A lot of crazy shit was going on this week, but I thought I would pull an old story out of the books with my old roommate, Joe. So lock in. This one's going to be a fucking banger, guys. So this story starts off on a wonderful Thursday morning. It's the middle of May. A lot of my roommates had already taken their finals and gone home, lucky bastards. But me and my roommate, Joe, were still there. We still had some shit to do. I don't know what Joe had left to do. He was kind of bumming on the academics. He was not an academic weapon, okay? I wasn't either, but I definitely worked hard. My GPA was pretty good, and I wanted to keep it that way until I graduated. So I wake up Thursday morning, I head out to the living room, and Joe is sitting on the couch drinking beer. It's like 9 or 10 in the morning, and dude has some beers out. He's just crushing some Miller Lite cans, smoking some pot. He's got some COD on the TV. He's got the speaker booming in the background, and he's just chilling. So I kind of go through my morning routine, get ready for the day, and then I grab my bong and my computer, and I go out to the table, and I sit next to Joe on the couch, and I kind of start looking through my school shit while he's playing COD. I wanted to hop on and make sure I wasn't missing out on anything, end of the year kind of shit that I needed to do before I graduated. And I also had a few 88s and 89s that I wanted my teachers to curve up to a 90. That way I would have a flat A. So we're just chilling, passing the bong back and forth. I'm trying to message these professors because my luck is awful. I swear, guys, every semester there would be 1 or 2 classes where I'd have an 88 or an 89, and I'm just sitting there trying to sweet talk my professor into giving me an A because it looks good on that transcript. You know what I'm saying? Sounds kind of stupid, but every point counts, and usually none of them would fight you on it, and they would just boost your grade free of charge. So I thought it was worth the try. I was sitting there typing up some emails, and Joe is trying to get me to shotgun some beers with him. It's like 10:30 in the morning. I'm fucking baked. We're kind of going back and forth talking about why this could be a good idea and why it couldn't. We were talking about what we had left to do. At this point, I had taken all of my tests. Like, all of my final tests were done, and the only thing that I had to worry about was giving my big presentation for the class of my major. It was this big research project that I'd already submitted, but we had to pick a day and present to the class. Now, as awful as it is, I did select to take it that Saturday. I decided to stay on campus later and take it on a Saturday because my social anxiety was so bad. As pathetic as it may sound, presenting my materials to the rest of the classroom made me so anxious. So I selected Saturday because I figured most of the other students were gone. After you present, you're free to go. You don't have to stick around and listen to everybody else's presentations. Anyways, me and Joe are just talking about this, and he convinces me to have a few drinks with him. He said, fuck it, man. We'll have some beers, play COD Zombies, and you don't have to worry about shit until your presentation on Saturday. And I was like, you know what, man? Fuck it. Let's do it. So I start shotgunning some beers with Joe in the kitchen, and he's really good about it. He's also a big dude. He's white dude, like 6'4", 220. I'm not a big dude. But we're shotgunning these beers. I'm kind of struggling and trying to keep up with him, and he's just pounding them away. After we shotgun our beers for a bit, we sit back down, and we keep passing the bong back and forth and just sipping our beers, playing COD Zombies on the big screen. It was lit, dude. We had split screen zombies, bumping some tunes, smoking pot, drinking. And this goes on for quite a couple of hours. You know, as I said, that's how we spent our day, just wasting it away, getting some drinks and us hanging out. It's about 1 p.m. at this point, and I decide to pull my computer back out because I wanted to see if any of my professors had gotten back to me. So I hop on my computer, I open up my email, and I start looking at some of what my professors had sent. Some of them were cool and they decided they would bump my grade. Some of them were dicks and gave me a hard time and told me that that was the grade that I earned, so that was the grade I'd be graduating with, which is fine, you know, take things as they come. But anyways, our grinder full of bud runs dry, but we still want to keep smoking, right? So Joe tells me that he's got his bag of weed or whatever's left of it in his room, and that I can go rifle through his stuff and find it, come back, and we can keep smoking and keep our day going. And at this point, it's like 1 something in the afternoon. I get up to go over to Joe's room so I can, find the weed so we can keep smoking. And I go over to his stuff and I'm just kind of like, I'm not snooping around like a weirdo, okay? I'm not going through my homie shit. But I'm trying to find this bag of bud that's allegedly there that he was telling me about, right? Bunch of clothes on the ground and towels and all this other crap and his old Xbox, and I push all that away and I find this old little bag of shake, and I guess that it was like maybe an eighth of shake, and it looked decent to be fair, but it was all shake. So I grab this bag of shake and I go back over to Joe, who's chilling on the couch, and something was off, guys. I could tell that something in the air was a little bit funky. All right, my computer was slightly moved. Joe had this shit-eating grin on his face, and he was kind of darting his eyes off of his game to look at me with that smile, and I knew that there was something mischievous going on. So I hop on my computer, and I refresh my inbox, and I was fucked. Joe is sitting next to me giggling, and I am looking at my computer in just complete disbelief and despair. My professor had sent out a bulk email to all of us students that were yet to present our research projects to the class. She explained that because there's no new materials to teach, opening up her office hours for those of us that haven't presented to go in and do it early. That way you go in, you present, you go home, and you're done early, and that's college. And then until graduation, you can really just fuck around and hang out with your homies and celebrate with your family, right? Now, this is all said and good until I start scrolling and I look at some of the students that have replied, and then I see the issue. From my username, I said yes, that I wanted the 3 p.m. slot to present today. I turned to Joe and I'm like, dude, why the fuck would you do me like that? And he's laughing his ass off. He thinks it's all funny and shit. And I'm kind of sitting there like, fuck, dude. But before I can go unsend the email or send a new email telling my teacher that I didn't mean to say that, he responded to the email that Joe sent from my computer saying that everything was confirmed and that the 3 p.m. slot was mine and that she already had the rest of my project to present to the class. All I had to do was show up and talk about it. It's like 2:20 p.m. at this point, and I am fucking wasted. Joe and I are both totally crossed, and there's no way I'm getting out of this one. I'm just staring at the email that she sent to me, letting me know that the 3 p.m. time is mine, and to show up like 5 minutes before that to do it. So I'm freaking out a little bit, man. I smell like a fucking frat party or like I just got back from a concert, dude. I run into the bathroom. I start brushing my teeth. I'm trying to put some eye drops in. And then I run into my room because my clothes probably smell like weed and booze. So I had to change, right? I'm going through my whole room looking for anything that I can wear. But most of what was viable was either on the floor and needed to go through the wash and the laundry, or I'd already packed it up and it's in my car. The only clothes that I had left to wear, which were remotely presentable, were these skinny jeans and this long-sleeved dark red shirt. That was literally fucking it. And it's in the middle of May, so it's hot as balls outside. So I change my clothes. I kind of accept what's about to happen. And I'm just in the bathroom kind of looking at my eyes, seeing how red they are. I'm trying to see how fucked up I am in the mirror. And I was wasted, guys. I go out to the living room towards the door to leave my apartment and start walking over to present this fucking thing. From the time that I read the email until now being at the door, I only had a couple minutes because it was a 15-minute walk to get to class, and I wanted to get there just a tad early to present and just be ready for it. But anyways, guys, I'm in my living room. I'm about to face the music. Joe is sitting there, still getting shit-faced. Big bastard, just kind of looking up at me and laughing a little bit. Most of the pranks that he would pull were typically pretty harmless, but this one was a little spooky because this was the last thing I had to do before I graduated college. And I wasn't really OCD about my GPA, but I'd worked pretty hard, and it would be a shame to mess it up right at the end because of my dumb roommate, Joe. I'm about to walk through the door and I notice I have a can of beer that I'd cracked like right before I read that email. And I decided, fuck it, man. I'm already about to go right into the fire. I might as well have a drink before I go present. I'm already wasted, guys. It's a banger. Who cares, right? So I chug this beer and I throw it into the trash and I walk to class, or rather the classroom where I'm presenting my project. So I pull up to the classroom and I immediately feel out of place. People are dressed nicely, but nobody's wearing long sleeves and long pants. I'm the only one. I get into the classroom and I'm already feeling pretty anxious, and I go sit down towards the back of the classroom. Sit down in the back again. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little anxious looking around at these other students, and I'm kind of just looking at my phone, and I'm looking at the front of the classroom at my professor, and she's just chilling behind her desk on her computer, making sure that everybody emailed her presentations, but before everybody is about to go up and present, right? Now, my university had some really weak facilities in the sense that during the winter time, the heating was really poor. So it would be cold as fuck. You'd be sitting in class all bundled up, almost like you were still outside. The same way that in the summertime, the AC would not do nearly enough. So even if you were wearing shorts and a t-shirt, you would still be sweating bullets, man. It would still be way too hot. And I was wearing skinny jeans and a long shirt. But anyways, guys, I'm just chilling there, and 3 o'clock comes, well, like 2:55, whatever. And I'm getting a little worried. I'm just sitting there hoping this thing goes as smoothly as possible, right? Suddenly, my professor calls out my name. She shouts me out and she says, "Hey, I got your presentation right here." And I can see her pulling up my PowerPoint on the big screen. In that moment, I got really nervous. I started sweating a little bit. Well, not a little bit. At this point, I started sweating fucking bullets, guys. It was really hot in there. And not only that, but at this point, the booze was starting to really hit me. Keep in mind, we started drinking at like 9 in the morning, and it's like 3 p.m. at this point. And I'd been killing beers all day, just ripping the bong, drinking beers, going absolutely crazy, because I thought I was scot-free until Saturday. Anyways, teacher calls me up. I go up to the front of the class, and I was a little worried that the people in that room, there were probably 8 or 9 other people in there. I was so scared that somebody would notice that I was just straight up drunk in the classroom, dude. I was petrified. So I stand up in front of the big pull down screen. I'm just standing in front of my PowerPoint, and I'm looking at my classmates who are all just staring up at me, expecting me to start talking soon. And I'm just looking at my classmates, and I start freaking out a little bit. My social anxiety goes crazy, boys. I'm sweating even more now. My cheeks get all hot. I can feel my face getting red. I'm getting all jittery. And I'm really worried that I'm about to just say some stupid ass shit in front of everybody, right? I start psyching myself up mentally, and I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm gonna do the presentation. And I open my mouth to wing it, and my teacher calls me and pulls me over to her desk. She did it really subtly. She just said, "Hey, can you come over here? I just wanted to make sure this was good before you share this with the class." Now, as I'm walking over to my teacher, I am really scared. I'm so worried my professor is about to be like, "Yo, dog, like, are you okay? Like, you look fucked up." Because I was drunk, and I don't think it was that hard to tell. But I was also really nervous, and I got saved by that because she could just tell that I was more nervous than drunk, I guess. But anyways, I walk over to her desk, and she pulls me in a little bit, and her voice gets kind of quiet. And she leans in, and she says, "Hey," and she says my name, and she's like, "Hey, look, you don't have to worry about this. This shouldn't be making you really nervous. You already did all this work on the project. Just give it your best shot, and I'll give you a good grade. Just go up there and give it your best try." And in the moment, I didn't know what she was going to say to me, so I just looked straight through her, and I'm like, okay. Look right at her, and I'm like, okay, here we go. I go right up to the front of the class, and I fucking winged it, boys, and I did it. When I first started, I was still a little scared, still a little bit anxious, kind of nervous, right? But the farther I got into my presentation, the more confidence that I got, especially in the materials that I presented, because this was stuff that I'd been studying for the past 4 fucking years, right? Not only that, but all those beers that I had in the beginning of the day were hitting me so hard in the middle of this presentation. I was actually starting to do a really good job and getting really confident towards the end of my presentation. I only had a couple more slides left, but this booze was kicking in, and I could feel myself starting to slur my words. Nothing really bad, but it sounded like I had a little bit of a lisp and I was talking maybe just a little bit slower than I should have. So I bum rushed through the rest of the presentation and that was it. It really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, guys. I sat back down, I watched maybe 2 or 3 other students present, and then the office hours was over. I just remember after exiting the classroom, I walk down the hall, I exit through those big doors, and the sunlight and the summer heat just hits me. And it was in that moment that this wave of relief just came over me and all that anxiety just left me. It was in that moment that I realized I finished the last thing that I had to do before I graduated college, and I was done. I did it. That was the only thing that I had to worry about, and I just nailed it. But anyways, guys, that could have gone way worse because I ended up going back to my apartment and puking. Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this clip. I thought this was just a funny ass story from my last week of college. Could have ended way worse because had that happened any later, I could have puked in the middle of that presentation for all anybody knows. But hey, guys, I hope you liked the video. Joe ended up getting me back. He gave me a bunch of beer before we left home for the summer. Hope you guys liked this video. Peace out.